and welcome here to TalkFCB, and welcome back to the channel here today, guys, where we are going to be looking ahead to the Super Cup semi-final where Barça will face Osasuna. So what can we expect from that game? We're also going to be talking today with particular emphasis on Joao Felix and what is going on with him right now, the feelings inside of the club, along as well with some transfer news. It is all coming up for you. Thanks for joining me. Let's do this. But I do actually want to kick off with that transfer news here, and it is regarding a player called Lucas Bergvall, who is a Swedish midfielder currently playing his football in his home nation. He is 17 years old, he turns 18 in February, and like I say, he is a central midfielder there. His playing style has been compared to the likes of Frenkie de Jong, similar sorts of characteristics about his game, and of course that is very high praise, that is very high ceiling that we're placing upon his ability. And if you do, guys, want to check out some of Bergvall's performances throughout this season so far, I do invite you there to download the SofaScore app from the link in the description below, because there you can get some more deeper insights into the player and the kind of qualities that he does have. And of course, that would be a big help to the channel, so thank you to you guys. But on Bergvall, there's been lots of rumours, certainly yesterday coming out, about Barca's interest in him. Apparently there, we've been tracking him for some time, and we're actually in talks right now with Djurgårdens over a potential transfer. Now, it was rumoured before that they could demand up to 15 million euros for the youngster, but apparently they're going to accept much less than that. It is going to be a much lower fee than that, and apparently Barca's bid right now is 6.5 million euros for Bergvall. And it's very interesting there that Barca do appear to have made an official approach for him. That means that we are serious about the move, but we do have competition on this one. Eintracht Frankfurt right now reported in Germany yesterday they've come in with a higher bid of 8.5 million euros. But again, as we often hear in the case of Barca, the player is really keen on the move to us. He would love to make that transfer, and it remains to be seen if it can happen. But I just think it's interesting to observe here Barca's transfer strategy right now. When you're looking at, Vitor Roque, who's arrived, Messinho, who we've been heavily linked with as well. You think about Noah Davic, he's another one that springs to mind that Barca have already got their hands on. We had interest in Echeverri. Now with Bergvall, it seems like Barca are absolutely desperate to get these signings at source. They want to get in early on them. They don't want to be waiting until they're into their 20s to then go and sign the peak version of that player. They want and need to get in early, because obviously it's not just about here the transfer fees. We can't afford any longer to be paying 100 million plus for these players. That simply will not fly. But it's not only about the fee, but also the wages too. That is absolutely key, because when you get in early with these young players, you tie them down to 5-6 year deals, and they're going to be on much lower wages than some of these other higher profile names that we're hearing around Europe. So Barca here, very clear in their strategy. They're looking at younger talents, they're trying to sign players early, they're trying to be clever in these deals, and could Bergvall be another player that we're seriously looking at? However, guys, speaking all about transfers, that brings us now onto the topic of Joao Felix, of course. He was the headline signing from back in the summer, of course, on deadline day, and there's been so much debate again about him in the media this week, because obviously he was benched against Las Palmas that we expected there, the first game back, Xavi really making a stand, and the media right now questioning whether Barca will actually attempt to make his loan a permanent one. Will they try and keep him at the club long term or not? Because according to the media right now, Xavi has already made up his mind. According to what we're hearing, the decision is made on his side. He does not want Joao Felix as part of his team. He does not trust in him, and not only to do with next season, but even now in this current campaign, Xavi is quickly losing faith with Joao Felix. And I just think it's really interesting right now, guys, to look in to what is happening with Joao Felix. This whole situation seems to be unraveling very quickly, and it's interesting because I wouldn't personally say, guys, that this season Joao Felix has been comfortably worse than the likes of Robert Lewandowski. Even Rafinha there, would you say that he's been worse than Ferran Torres? It's an interesting debate to be had. How bad has Joao Felix been compared with a whole attack which has really underperformed right across the board, in fairness? So what exactly is going on here? Is this a case with Xavi and Joao Joao Felix, is Xavi actually trying to send out a message? Does he want the whole team to sort of sit up and take notice, to see that a high-profile player like Joao Felix has been benched? You know, a clear sign there that this could happen to any player. Or, and this is interesting, I also wonder whether Xavi is trying to send a message out to Joan Laporta. Because let's not forget that back in the summer, it seemed very, very clear that Xavi never really wanted Joao Felix in his team. It was somebody who didn't really seem to fit what he wanted from a player, from that left winger. It's somebody that, of course, Laporta was very keen himself to bring in. He's a big admirer of the player, but there seemed to be a real difference in opinion there. And is this Xavi ultimately saying to Laporta, look, it hasn't worked out, and I am showing you clearly here that the player that you brought in, that you sort of insisted that I have in my team, it is clearly not going to work out that way. So it's going to be interesting to see how we go and where we go from here, whether Joao Felix is able to win his place back. I would actually admit right here and now that I'm kind of understanding in some ways Diego Simeone's frustration with him. I think from his time so far at Barca, you'd say that in flashes, Joao Felix can be brilliant. He can decide a game. He can be a match winner. He has so much ability, but we haven't seen it consistently, and we're not seeing it consistently right now. And I would also question as well the work rate too. I think he has to give more. He's got to have that hunger and all of the time, because there have been occasions where Felix, you look at the game against Atletico Madrid, he was highly motivated. He was very desperate there to prove himself and prove a point. And in that game, he was unplayable. But again, you don't replicate that display. You don't see the consistency. You don't see that will and that hard work every single game. And that's what he has to do, whether it be at Barca, whether it be back at Atletico Madrid. Joao Felix here must apply himself more of the time. And maybe that here is exactly what Xavi is trying to get from him. Which does indeed then bring us on to Barca's Super Cup clash on Thursday against Osasuna. They're live from Saudi Arabia in the semi-final. And of course, across in the other semi-final. That'll be tonight. Real Madrid will play Atletico Madrid to decide who will become the Super Cup champions this season. And of course, Barca coming into this game, we are the reigning Super Cup champions. We beat Real Betis at this time last year in the semi-final, which we then followed up with a dominant win over Real Madrid. 3-1. It was an absolutely wonderful performance. Actually, the best performance, I would say, from Barca in the whole calendar year. And you'll remember in that game, Gavi was instrumental. He absolutely destroyed Real Madrid that day. What a display it was from him. But of course, we are missing him badly right now. Although yesterday we did discuss good news on Gavi, that his recovery is going well and that he may return sooner than expected. But when you are thinking about the starting lineup heading into tomorrow's game, I don't think there's going to be too many surprises here. Things that are sort of out of the ordinary when it comes to Xavi's team. Obviously, Peña will continue in goal. I do wonder whether we could see back deployed across the back line there with Koundé, Araujo, Christensen and Balde potentially starting. Cancelo, of course, still looking to return from that injury problem. And then in midfield, is it going to be Ilkay Gundogan, Frenkie de Jong? And I would look at Fermin Lopez here. Pedri again is on the peripheries looking to return from his injury too. But of course, we don't want to throw people back in too quickly, too soon and have any relapses. So like I say, Fermin Lopez performed well in the Copa del Rey. He's got his qualities. He can make those advanced runs. He can chip in with goals. That is a unique quality in this team, and that is why I would look to start him in this game. And then in the forward line, probably Xavi is going to line up with Rafinha, with Lewandowski, and again with Ferran Torres. And I would actually question a lot of that front line there, because obviously Lewandowski, we know, has been having a difficult season. Ferran Torres did not play well at all in the Copa del Rey in midweek. And what I would say, guys, is it about time that Lamine Yamal started a game? Because when he comes on in matches, he makes things happen. He can make very decisive passes. He can open up opposition defences, and I would like to see him from the start here. We have to see more of him in this Barcelona team, and of course we all want to see more of Vitor Roque as well. He's had a few chances so far in his Barca career. He is still looking for that first goal, and I do wonder here whether it may come in the Super Cup. And as you can see right here from the predictions ahead of this game, I think there is scepticism among Barcelona fans right now, because like I've said before, we don't really know what to expect coming into any given game. We don't know whether we're going to see any improvement. We don't know whether we're going to take a step back. We think it's unlikely, of course, that we're going to win by more than one goal, since we've barely done that at all this season. But it is going to be interesting to see here. It's a semi-final. It's a separate sort of competition. Maybe we can just reset things here and get some momentum, some confidence going from somewhere. Let's wait and see how it goes, guys. Let me know your predictions down below and the starting lineup that you would deploy against Osasuna on Thursday. I will see you after the game, of course, with all of the reaction. But thank you indeed here for tuning in, for joining me here today, and for being involved on the channel. Thank you to all of you for that. I will catch you soon. But until next time, yeah, as always, Visca, El Barça.